we have the Knight of Wands coming up. And if you guys follow me on Facebook, you would have seen that I said I've been rocking this Knight of Wands energy, Knight of Wands attitude. His attitude is that he will only do it if it's fun. You know, he's in it for the experience of whatever he's trying to do. He goes rushing in and he wants to have an amazing experience, whatever he experiences. When it gets boring, when it's not fun anymore, he'll just move on to something else. You might be dealing with someone like this, but it's fire energy. I think it's your energy. And that might be it. You know, you want a new experience. That's what the Knight of Wands is all about. He's often seen as unreliable. And, you know, yeah, he would be because he's not sticking to one thing. But he's being true to himself and he's being true to his experience. So I think he has a bad reputation. I don't have a problem with the Knight of Wands. I mean, yeah, he's seen as that kind of, he's sometimes called the booty call card, or, you know, that someone who's there 1 minute and then rushes off another. I think as long as you're honest and open and saying, well, this is what I'm here for this, and you're not promising the world, which I don't see the Knight of Wands doing usually. He's fun, you know, when he's around, he's fun. He can be someone that comes rushing in, you enjoy the experience with them, and then they've just disappeared again because they're done. They're off looking for that next adventure. This is the adventure card. He's the explorer. And that might be this week. That's what you're thinking, that I want something new. And we're coming into your energy, of course, right? Fire energy. Leo season started. The sun's shifted into Leo. It's going to change things up. But why are you doing this? Why have we got the Eight of Swords here? I mean, that's got to be frustrating energy where you've got this sense of adventure. I want to do something. I want to go and experience something. But you're feeling trapped by your thoughts, right? Thinking that, but I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of that. No wonder you have got strength coming up in the present, because there is courage needed. This is that inner saboteur, that little voice of fear that tells us that we're not enough. You know, you can't do it because of this. It tells you you have no choices, that you're stuck, but you're not. You're never stuck. Swords are our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, and how we communicate them. And yet in the Eight of Swords, I always see it as a non-communication card. I see it as a card where our thoughts are keeping us trapped. And that's actually the remedy for this card, is to actually speak them out. I always say, if you want to get out of that Eight of Swords energy or that Nine of Swords energy, speak it. Say it. Just go and say it to a friend. You know, just say it out loud to yourself. Write it out in a journal, what you're thinking. The actual speaking of it, or the, you know, expression of those thoughts, whatever these are, oftentimes that's enough. You kind of look at that and think, well, that's not the truth. You know, why am I thinking that? But as I said, that's frustrating energy where you want to kind of go charging off. You want to do something, you know, you want to have some fun. You want to have some fun, but you're told you can't. This is that, but I have to do this and I have to do that and I should do this and I should do that. That's what this is telling you. Why is that? Well, we have the Three of Swords coming up as the pastor foundation. This can be last week, last month, last year. And the Three of Swords, it's pain, it's heartache, it's, you know, it's not, it is a very difficult energy. It's a painful energy, right? When we go through this. And usually it's three swords that are going through a heart, right? Not in this one. There's a stabbing of rose for some reason, but you know, it's usually three swords going through a heart. And those three swords have been there for a long time. I always see this as a trigger card. Something triggers pain within us. And oftentimes we will focus on, and I talk about this in the outro, we focus on the cause of that trigger. We focus on, you know, this person said this to me, this person did this to me, or whatever happened. But actually, those three swords have been there a very long time. They could be, you know, ideas that we have about our relationships, from our parents' marriage, from the relationships that we had in the past, how we're going to get treated at work by our friends. You know, people always use me, no one ever gives me anything. But those are stories that we have within us. And, you know, it's not just three swords. There are 8 swords here. The Three of Swords, when it comes up, it's always an opportunity to remove those 3 swords. And so something painful happened here. But this is almost as if, you know, that once bitten, twice shy kind of energy. Because you went through this, because this happened, whatever caused this pain, and, you know, it's going to be different for everyone. Whether you felt like someone did something to you at work, whether in a relationship someone hurt you, whatever this is, there's a situation now or an opportunity now for you to go and have a new adventure, go in a different direction, to go explore something new. And yet you're telling yourself no. And is it because of this? Is it because, well, last time we got hurt? Last time this happened? But it's understanding the stories, the swords. They're all stories that we've picked up. Are they even our stories? Are they even true for us anymore? And like I said, no wonder we have strength coming up then in the present. And that is the card for Leo. This is courage. This is that inner courage. I actually said this to someone this past week because they said they weren't feeling very courageous. And what I actually said to them was, you know, courage is just feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And so in that sense, what's the difference? Some people might see that as stupidity. Why would you do that again? You know, but it is that. That's how we won't remove that fear. We're not going to remove what's worrying us. We can't, you know, there's three swords. Yes, we work through them and we can acknowledge them. And the acknowledgement of what these thoughts are that are keeping us trapped, that hurt us in the past, whatever it was, it's the acknowledgement of that yes, that happened, but doesn't mean it's going to happen again. New experience, remember? It's going in a new direction, experiencing something new. And so with the strength card, it's telling you, you know, this is not about brute force. This is not about outward displays, the displays of aggression. Sometimes that can happen. And it's a reaction from where we are. You know, if we feel vulnerable or we're feeling trapped, we can overcompensate for that. And strength is saying, no, it's not about that, because don't forget, it's the lion that's subdued. The lion that's subdued. Now, that's not someone, that's not someone controlling you or subduing you. That's not the point of this. As Leo, especially, that's your card, right? You have that lion in you, that beast side. We all have that animalistic side to us. This is the logical side, right? These are our passions, our desires. And so it's about subduing that, or directing that rather, in a way that's going to work for you. It's expressing that courage that you have, that lust for life even. You know, the strength card used to be called a lust card. Excuse me. You know, your lust for life, whatever it is that you want, it takes courage to go for what you want. It really does. You know, it's so easy to say, well, what's your dream? What's your goal? It takes courage to go for it. And I feel like whatever it is this week, you want something new. At this point, it may just be that you want a new experience. You know what? You want to experience your relationship differently. You want to try something new at work. You want to go traveling, whatever it is that you want. This very clearly is saying it's, you know, some old experience or this inner saboteur, the fears that are keeping you trapped. When you have the inner strength to overcome whatever obstacles come up, That's what strength says. You have the strength, you have the courage to overcome these obstacles, to go on this adventure. Whether it's a literal adventure or just experiencing something new in your life. Experiencing the same situation in a different way. That's kind of where I've been in my life. Everything feels like it's changed, but nothing has, not externally. But I've changed in the way that I experience it and where I am. So where does this lead? If you can overcome the courage to do this, you've got the 10 of Pentacles coming up as a future energy. And remember, the future doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. Our actions here, this is the most crucial position in any tarot reading, the present. Because what are you going to do with this energy? If you can overcome this, you know, if you can and you have that courage in you, you have that courage. If you can use this to tell this stuff to just shut up, like, you know, tell that inner saboteur to shut up. Feel the fear and do it anyway. You've got something that is long-term, something that offers you long-term stability. And that's pretty amazing, because I always encourage people to go, I do that. Is it fun? Is this something that I truly want to do in this moment? If the answer is yes, it's always going to work out in your favor. It always will. That's what the 10 of Pentacles says. This is your legacy. This is something that you're building, you know, something that it's that job that we start and we plan to be there until we retire. It's that relationship where we see each other, like we love each other and we're going to be together until we get old, you know, and we're going to have a family together. We're going to build a home together. It's that long-term security and stability. But it comes from this passion. So if these little voices are telling you, you know, this is silly, or you're just it's a whim, you know, we have to be responsible, I have to be an adult about this. That is the most adult card. That's your legacy. That's what you're here to do. And look at your advice. The advice is the High Priestess. The High Priestess, whenever she shows up in anyone's reading, and I say this every single time, she's telling you that you trust your intuition, trust your gut on this. She sits underneath this Three of Swords. She sits underneath this Three of Swords. So you know yourself that, whatever this hurt or pain is, it doesn't have to happen again. It's made you stronger because you overcame this. This is in the past. This is, your foundation. We look at this to tell us why we are where we are. Why do you need courage? Because you went through this before, but you're not going to do that again. I love this fire kind of energy here. This is about burning this up. Like I tell fire signs all the time on Instagram, shine bright. And that's what the High Priestess is saying as well. You have an intuition on this. Trust that. Don't do this. This is not trusting your intuition. This is coming up with reasons for why you shouldn't trust your intuition. She's the keeper of all knowledge. She's the keeper of all wisdom. She's the tarot reader. She's the intuitive. She has, she can access the Akashic records. She can access all of that collective knowledge that we have. And so can you. And you know what your instinct is. This is not instinct. These are fears. But this is what you know in your gut. This is right for me. And you wouldn't have the Knight of Swords coming up as your underlying energy if you didn't feel this. You wouldn't, strength is not saying that it's telling you to have the courage to go for what it is that you want, that you know is right for you. Doesn't matter what the obstacles are, because you have this amazing energy coming in for you if you can do that. Oh gosh. See, look to your inner strength. You are stronger than you realize. And that's your message this week, guys. That is your message this week. You've got 2 reminders here of your strength. You are strong. You are strong. Are you going to use that strength to get what you want, to go on this adventure, whatever it is? It doesn't mean you're leaving a situation. It's whatever it is that's calling to you. That's why I always feel with the Knight of Songs, the Knight of Wands, rather, Knight of Songs, the Knight of Wands, that he is being called. There's a sense of adventure there. Something is calling to his very spirit. That's why he goes charging off to experience it. Soulmates. We have soulmates coming up for you. I don't actually see the soulmates card very often from this deck, so that's interesting that came up. And yes, soulmates come in every walk of life, guys, in every walk of life. They can be our lovers, they can be our friends, family members, right? People that we work with. And soulmate relationships can be some of the most difficult because they bring us back to who we are. So for some of you, this situation, it's regarding a soulmate situation. Do you have the courage to go in it? Maybe someone hurt you in the past, right? Someone hurt you here. And you're not sure whether you want to go. I mean, it's looking pretty solid. This is the potential, something that has potential to stand the test of time. It's something that we get into long term. And that's the whole point of this, is that you already know this though. And even if it's not that, even if it's something, you want to do for yourself, soulmates come and, they're always going to be on our path. They're always going to help us either by, giving us that kind of friction sometimes. Sometimes they'll be there to support us. But we will always have people that come in our life that they will help us in whatever way. We might not perceive it as help in the moment, but help us to take that next step that we need to take. I feel like you guys got this card once before as well. All right, here it goes. Dearest you, sometimes it's wonderful to give, but there are times you might find yourself overgiving. Now might be a good time to check in and see where you might be cutting off the flow of abundance. Let others give to you, even if you are more comfortable being generous and being the giver, the healer, the rescuer. In the art of living, we sometimes overlook an important skill, receiving gracefully and with gratitude, without diminishing yourself or trying to deny vulnerability or bringing an agenda of equality to it. Receiving is hard for some people, maybe you. You do not need a this for that in your exchange with others. You are doing good in the world. Let the world give back and support you. Then you can give up the old stories, right? The old stories that have you convinced you have to do everything alone with no help. Let your well be filled. We all love you so, so much. Now, for some of you, that came through when I was reading that. There's a kind of situation here that you might have always done what was right. And that's like quote unquote right. There's no kind of right and wrong anyway. But what was right for everyone else. That's why the Knight of Wands is seen as selfish, but he isn't. You know, sometimes you have to fill your own well sometimes to go have that sense of adventure, to do something that gets your passion going. And the Ten of Pentacles here might be saying, well, you'll have that support. Soulmates card is saying you have people in your life that will help you, that support you. You know, for some of you, if this is about work, you want to take a job take a risk maybe on your own business, or try something that's creative, right? Knight of Wands is creativity. It's a creative venture. You're giving up maybe a solid paying job or trying something new, but thinking, I don't know if I'll have the money. Well, other people can support you. If you've always been the breadwinner, there will be support. This reading is saying that. Or in a relationship, right? Maybe you've always been the Knight of Wands. You've always been the one that it was just fun. Let's just keep it fun and stuff. And now you're ready to commit. But it's frightening because the last time you tried to commit, you know, I always say this, you know, people always complain about, oh, they're just players, or they're just this, that, and the other. Well, maybe they're afraid. They're afraid to commit because they got hurt so bad the last time they commit. They still want that connection, that closeness with someone, but they don't. They're afraid, right? But if you can overcome that with strength, with courage, the courage that you have, then yeah, you have some very amazing energies coming in here.